During the military regime of General Sani Abacha, the government grew concerned about the rising popularity and influence of Daddy G.O, Pastor E.A. Adeboye, and the RCCG. As a result, there were claims that an order was given to have him taken into custody or possibly eliminated from public life. According to the accounts, a military team was sent to the redemption camp to carry out the directive. However, the soldiers either lost their way, could not locate the camp, or were mysteriously prevented from completing their assignment. There were proofs that their vehicles broke down or that they were unable to find the correct route, even though they had clear directions. However, it is important to understand this story within the context of General Abacha's harsh regime and highly repressive nature. He was known for his iron-fisted approach and was linked to the detention, silencing, or forced exile of many political opponents, journalists, and activists. And so, considering the historical setting of his rule, it is not far-fetched to believe that a prominent figure like Pastor E.A. Adeboye, who has such a large and devoted following, could have been viewed as a potential threat. At this time, Nigeria was under the tight grip of this military president's reign, and seeking to extend his power, he planned to transition into a civilian president. But according to some accounts, his trusted herbalist, a spiritual advisor, told him the plan would not succeed.
Nigeria was living under a siege. At a particular time, there was a reign of terror by a military president. And then he wanted to transform to a civilian president. And then his herbalist told him, this your plan cannot come to pass because of a certain man who is praying at a place called camp. Unless you remove that man, your plan won't work.
The occultic priest reportedly warned him that a certain man was standing in the way of his ambitions. That man was none other than Pastor E.A. Adeboye, fondly known as Daddy G.O. As soon as the order was given to take Daddy G.O into custody, word reached him immediately. And in those days, whenever they came for you, that was the end of the story. When Daddy G.O heard of this news, he was troubled. He did not tell his wife, but he decided to go on a prayer walk.
As an ordinary human being, when I heard that, I was troubled. I didn't tell my wife, but I got out. I said, I'm going for my prayer walk. It wasn't an ordinary prayer walk that day. I've just been praising God for a while before I prayed. When God spoke to me, I said, hey, son, don't worry yourself. I will take care of the situation.
This was a Tuesday during the week of the Holy Ghost service. Then the Lord told him, my son, as soon as your children gather tonight for service, tell each one to greet his fellow and say, Happy New Year. But strangely, this was just the month of June, so greeting each other Happy New Year doesn't seem to make sense. But because he knew that voice, the voice of his commander-in-chief, he obeyed. He stood before the people and announced, go ahead and greet one another Happy New Year. And though it sounded unusual, they did not question him. They simply obeyed and greeted. Then immediately after this prophetic declaration, something happened that no one saw coming. By the following Monday, the military president, Sani Abacha, was announced to have passed away. It was at that point Daddy G.O and the rest of the church understood why the Lord had told them to greet one another Happy New Year. It was really a new beginning. But strangely, what followed after the news of his passing opened the door to even deeper mysteries. And just before we continue, I know some of you are new to this channel, so please do well to subscribe so you can always stay updated with every interesting video we have coming your way. General Sani Abacha, Nigeria's military head of state, passed away suddenly on June 8, 1998, inside the Aso Rock Presidential Villa in Abuja, Nigeria. The official explanation given by the government was a heart attack. However, because he was buried the same day in line with his religious tradition and without an official autopsy, his passing became surrounded by widespread speculation and countless theories. Some believe he was poisoned by political rivals who wanted to bring an end to his rule, while others point to a mysterious incident involving an alleged immoral affair with a woman. This was a popular but unsubstantiated rumor claiming his passing was influenced by such an act. But amidst all, the official government explanation was that he suffered a sudden natural heart attack. And so, because no official autopsy was conducted, the true circumstances of his passing remain a mystery and none of the theories have ever been proven. So here is a conclusion. When the timeline of events is played side by side, when you have a look at Pastor Adeboye's prophetic declaration and the official records of the passing of the president at that same time, one can see the fingerprints of divine intervention. Many believe that God himself orchestrated events in response to the threats against his servants. And so the lesson is clear. God can be trusted to preserve his own. The RCCG campground is not an ordinary place. It is a highly spiritual ground that must be treated with reverence. Pastor Adeboye survived what seemed like the worst, proving one thing: only God can decide when his servant's assignment on earth is complete. No man can. Talking about battles and men of God, you have to watch this next story about Apostle Johnson Suleiman, a man who has survived the beasts and storms of life in ministry. Go on and watch the video. I celebrate you.